The Path, June 11th, 2008. The night was darker than black in places, and I walked along the paved path with a forest of trees to my left, and a sky illuminated only by tiny brilliant points of light above me, above and beyond the trees beside me. As I walked, the darkness drew me in, and I wandered into it, stumbling through the roots and the undergrowth, stepping on soft dirt and sinking into the moist earth. The light of the stars grew difficult to discern, and the sky blackened with groping branches and clawing leaves, and I eventually realized that I had wandered far off of the correct path. And so I sought out the path again, wandering through the forest of darkness, with my senses heightened, with a heightened awareness. The darkness began to glow vibrantly, as though the world itself gave off light, and the light grew brighter so that the night became as day. I walked through the forest of illuminated trees and earth and sky, and I looked up through the framed spaces of brilliant whiteness to a blue that glowed like the sun. The trees seemed so magnificently tall, and they seemed to grow taller and taller, and the world grew larger around me, and I looked forward to see leaves larger than my entire body. The brightness faded, but a glow remained, like a magical air, like pastel hues of a dream. I turned to see the shadow of a creature fall upon me, the shadow of an evil, a force of darkness amidst the light. And I began to run, not knowing from what I was running, not knowing what it looked like, but feeling the darkness of its presence following me, chasing me. I climbed over leaves the size of trees and pebbles the size of boulders, moving as fast as I could and not daring to look back at the force that pursued me. I felt fear as a shiver down my spine. I could never escape it. The darkness was near. And suddenly I felt myself lift up off the ground. I flapped my arms like wings and found myself hovering forward and then flying, gaining altitude with each flap of my arms. I felt my arms catch the air and push it out below me and behind me. I felt the air lift me up beneath the effort of my arms. And I flew forward, soared upward, above the giant grains of soil, above the huge leaves, above the tremendous branches that lay upon the forest floor. I gained a view like I have never before seen. A forest impinged upon my sights, filling me with tangible awe. Trees larger than skyscrapers stretched out all around me, and the sky was a canopy of billowing clouds in a nest of blue splendor. The world was a fairy tale palace, and I lifted up into it, through it, flapping my arms with all my force and controlling my every movement through the air. I felt powerful and yet minuscule. I was dwarfed by the world, but I could fly above it, beyond it. I felt I could fly anywhere, but I could not imagine any place beyond this mythically vast forest. A current of wind suddenly caught me up in it, and I was thrown through the air. I awoke and found myself lying down, looking up at a wooden ceiling that was solid, as though cut entirely from one tree, and this wood was illuminated by a comforting but ethereal glow. I rolled over and stood up, and I saw beautiful figures around me, human figures. But these people were not human. These people had crystal clear wings sprouting from their backs. I knew it almost immediately, though the thought was strange. These people were fairies, and they were protecting me, hiding me away from the dark force that sought to engulf me. One day I would have to face the darkness, but not today, not today. They hid me inside the trees and beneath the trees. They hid me in their glow. They had beautiful faces, and there was a girl fairy, and I was young, and she was young, and I was drawn to her beauty. I enjoyed spending time with her, and we talked little, but I enjoyed her company. I enjoyed her presence. But I woke up, and she was gone. I have not seen her since. I awoke to a light shining through my window. At first I thought it was merely the sun, but it grew brighter and brighter, illuminating my entire room in an otherworldly brilliance. I had to leave. Urgency was palpable in the air, and I leapt out of bed, awake and yet sleepy in a daze, but I was so awake. I searched my bookcase for the book. I had to find the book that made me feel that way. I knew the feeling, but I did not know the book, did not know its title or its contents. There was the sense of an island, water everywhere. I was going to be stranded, but I could not tell if this was part of the book or the future I faced. There was a feeling of hope in the book, a feeling of escape, a feeling of otherworldliness. I was in the book. I was a character in the book. The book was somehow about me. I think the book was somehow about me. The light was accompanied by destruction. I had to leave. I had to leave. But I could not find the book. I needed to find the book. Somehow this was the key. Somehow the book was the key. It was vital that I find it. The light grew brighter. Time was running out. The brightness was blinding, and I searched frantically. The bookcase was nearly empty before me. I had books strewn about my floor. Somehow the book for which I searched seemed not to exist. Maybe it didn't yet exist. But I needed to find it. I had to find the book. I walked along the sand, along the shore of a lake of black stillness. The water did not seem like water. The water seemed like a portal into unimaginable depths. And the sand shifted beneath my feet, molding to my shoes as I walked. I placed one foot and then the other in front of me, shifting my weight as I went. And the blackness was so alluring, so tempting. I wanted to enter it, to dip my foot into it, to see to where this glassy black hole led. The sun was nowhere to be seen, and the stars tried to pierce the blackness of the sky above. As I looked up to gaze upon them, I felt myself pulled down. I could feel the darkness beside me pull me toward it. I felt warmth near me. I felt comfort. I felt the warmth of life in lips that unexpectedly touched my own. I knew I was lying down. I knew where I was, but I didn't know where I was. And the lips felt unfamiliar, and they pulled away from my own. I opened my eyes to the warmth of the smile of a soul kneeling beside me, the energy of another self, a female self, who looked at me through living eyes. Her gaze was penetrating. She looked into my being, into the essence that gave rise to the layers of manifestation that intermingled with her layers of manifestation, as the worlds we created overlapped, and as the bodies of our choosing touched. Our smiling lips touched as we willfully co-manifested the action of a kiss. And I felt her overflowing energy, the love of her being, the sharing she poured into me. Her smile was mesmerizing, her gaze hypnotizing. I could not take my eyes away from the real-life manifestation of the girl I had only before manifested in my dreams. And she hugged me, and the feeling she instilled in me lingered. It lingered, recreating itself in my thoughts and my experience every once in a while, and it felt so good. As I gazed upon the clouds and saw a castle, as I drifted up into the sky in my mind, I was in the billowing cloud upon which the sunlight fell in light and shadow. I was there. I was in the purity of the blue high above the earth, amidst the slowly drifting water droplets. I sailed across the sky, and I flapped my arms and floated higher and higher. I leapt and floated upward through the air, soaring away from the earth and into the darkness of space. I watched the planets pass me by. I was drifting now. I was drifting, and the stars were like glistening diamonds in the darkness, but I could not grab hold of them. Everything was far away. I was far away. I looked back upon the earth, and I saw only blackness. I looked into the blackness, into the darkness of an infinite abyss, and I willed myself toward it, into it, and I fell. I didn't know where I was. Darkness was everywhere. Train tracks were everywhere, above and below and on every side. The trains of life carried their passengers by, and I didn't know which train I was supposed to be on. I was supposed to set all of the tracks right somehow, all of the trains right somehow. I was supposed to keep all of the trains on track. Every passenger had a destination in time and space. And I got it wrong. A man died, and a chain reaction of events was set in motion, rippling throughout time. The trains were off schedule, and the tracks began to collapse. I entered a world of water. Water was everywhere. And I had to get to the girl. I had to get her to where she belonged. A house that was like a dollhouse was amidst the water, and the water was rising. The water was rising. I had to set things right somehow. I had to set things right. I was back upon the earth. The earth was grounding. The ocean waves crashed resoundingly upon the shore, and I breathed the rhythm of the waves. Fear. Fear washed over me. I cannot let myself fall. I cannot let myself fall. Breathe. Breathe. The sun was so radiant. It shone light and warmth upon my skin and the whole world, filling my body and the air and the sand and the sea with warmth. People everywhere, people upon the beach, people walking past me, and I just sat on the bench and I breathed, and it was okay. I was okay. The ocean swished and roared and flowed, and I breathed in and I breathed out, and the sun warmed the air, and the water flowed, and my breath flowed. Breathe. She kissed me. This girl cared so much for me, and I could see it in the way she looked at me. I loved that gaze. I have not seen it. I have not in so long seen that gaze, that intense, caressing, blood-warming, experience-transforming gaze. Her lips enveloped my upper lip, my lips gently surrounding her soft lower lip, and I felt the warmth. I shouldn't be kissing her. I don't think I should be kissing her. But I kissed her, and it felt wonderful, sensual, wonderful. Skin touching my lips, innocence. Somehow this was innocence, because it was not more. It felt good because it was just a kiss, and I knew she didn't desire, didn't need any more. It was just a kiss, and it would just be a kiss. The touch of our souls was far greater than the touch of our physical layers could ever be. The single bird flapped its wings as it flew through the air by me. I felt myself in that bird. I felt my essence soaring. Yet the bird seems not to have all that much control. It is at the mercy of the wind. The air makes its travel possible, but the air also makes it so difficult. And the bird merely has to deal with the wind as it is. I am not the bird. It is okay that I cannot fly like the bird, because I know that I can fly like the bird will never be able to fly. Somehow I am far more capable, far more in control of the world that surrounds me than the bird will ever be. The sky is beautiful. Clouds drift by, layers of clouds, layers upon layers. And the soft, light gray cotton glows against the pastel ethereal blue, and the paint strokes and splatters of white float along, and the painting changes with the wind. The wind plays with the world, but I control the world. I control the wind. I direct the force that shapes the world. The words of my thoughts shape the world. The trees grow tall, sprouting outward with branches every which way, upward toward that shifting painting. And I am not hidden away. I have a front row seat for this production. The earth is the front row seat. And I walk upon the grass and back onto the paved path. The light is shining here. The The sun is brilliantly clear here, and I can feel a peace as I have not felt, as though a burden has been lifted from my chest. I walk along comfortably as though I hover through the constantly emerging world. And I look up past glowing green leaves into the sky from where the sun shines down upon me. And I feel the warmth upon my skin, and I feel the light flow through me to illuminate the world of brilliant colors, to illuminate and give form to a painting that exists incompletely and yet fully at every moment. Right now, I feel the fullness. Right now, I feel complete. The world is perfect right now, and it is always headed toward greater perfection as I travel down the correct path, as I walk across the earth, as I move closer to the sun. I am here, and by being fully here, I am closer to the source of being. I feel real here. I feel alive here. I have set before thee this day life and good and death and evil. The words resound in my mind. I choose life and good. I choose life and good.